structure, the incumbent structure of teachers are going to have a difficult time in terms of making adjustments. If you have a certain amount of emotional and professional investment in the system as it is, and you know that change will take away some of that, remove the gate, if you will.
Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the EdTech Spot STEM in Education series. This is the Digital Classroom Part 2. That's a lot, I know. And one of the co-founders. Now, before we get this show rolling, yes. So in this episode, we will give practical tools that can assist and enhance learning environment in the digital classroom. And first up to give perspective is a man who believes that we should type less and talk more, Mr. John Neale.
Hello from England. Lovely to be here.
Great, Mr. Neale. Now, Mr. Neale is an educator. He is also a former governor, a Google certified innovator, Apple distinguished educator, an Adobe creator, and he's also the founding member of the ISTE International Advisory Board, and the recently installed vice president of Mote. And this is just what he provided for. I think you have to roll up in the credits, but and educating, transforming education at the grassroots level from a policy perspective always seemed to pique my curiosity. But to learn that you also have a tech bone and you also have a creative interest, and in addition, we share the same first name and nickname as well. It gives me a sense that you truly understand what brings value to the classroom and that you were little to no trouble when you're a little lad. Isn't that so, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I did lose you for a bit there, but yeah, it's education for me is something which is beyond important. I think that it is something that we all need to have more of a stake in and actually recognize that just because we've been to school, all of us, be it kind of 3 years ago or 33 years ago, just to recognize that the future is very different, and it's so important that for the good of the younger generation that we're exploring solutions that are not only going to help them now, but are going to help them as they look to their futures.
Yes, I agree, and I can see that you and Mote, you do get it. You get the pains that teachers and students experience, and you are addressing it. And this is how I feel about the Mote app. It really addresses those teacher-student communication pains within the online environment, and it's no trouble to install and use. But I'm not going to be explaining what that is. I'll leave that up to you. Mr. Neale is going to bring to us a presentation on how to use Mote and the benefits of it. So I'm really looking forward to hearing that. So I'll leave the floor here to Mr. Neale as he presents to us on Mote.
Perfect. I will wait till I see my screen pop up, and then I'll go into a nice demonstration. So yeah, so what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to take you through Mote from the ground up. For those of you that might not have heard of Mote, we are primarily a voice note tool that seamlessly integrates across Google Workspace. Be it Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides, you want to drop a comment into your student work, no problem at all. Why not save a bit of time and use a voice note? We've also recently developed a full integration into Google Slides. So in addition to being able to add a voice note as a comment, you can now have that going straight into the slide deck itself. So what we're trying to do is to break down barriers, as you said just now, Jonathan, and we're aiming to promote accessibility, as well as really giving some time back to teachers, because one of the key benefits that we're seeing from the million educators, actually, and we're on 1 million weekly users now, that they are really commenting on the positivity and the way that they're getting more of a work-life balance when they can use a tool like Mote that cuts down on the time taken for them to give written feedback. And you may have spotted that on social media in the past couple of weeks, we launched Mote for Gmail. Just one other example of how we're trying to diversify the reach of voice notes and the idea, as you say, of typing less and talking more. So I'm going to jump into my piece of student work here. This is one of my students called Dwight. And the first thing that I'm going to do is just show you Mote in its most basic form. So I've got transcription turned off. And as I would do on any regular piece of Google work, I'm going to open up a comment here. But instead of typing it, I'm going to save time by leaving a voice note. And all I need to do is to tap where it has the Mote icon. Hi, Dwight. Really impressed with how you're getting started with this particular assignment. If you need any help, don't forget to let me know before the next class on Thursday. So that is now saving. As I say, this is the most basic level. So I would just type comment. And what's going to happen now is Dwight would get a clickable card that he can see and he can listen to from within the actual slide deck itself. So to play it back, all I would need to do would be to tap on the play icon, and that would then start to play. If your students have the extension installed as well, then they would get the same clickable card. If they don't, it's no problem. They would just click on it, click on the link. It would open up in a new page with the landing page for the particular voice note and any transcription or otherwise accompanying it. Speaking of transcription, that's what I'm going to do now is toggle on the transcription just through the extension up here. So I'm going to turn on voice transcription. And before I jump back into giving my next voice note, just going to highlight a really neat feature. So on the transcription language, it is best to choose the language that most suits your own accent. So in my case, as you can tell, I'm actually based in the UK, so I'm going to leave this to English UK, but you can choose the one that fits best for you. And what's significant is that for any language teachers or for ELL students, perhaps, you can actually speak in another language from any of the list below, and that will then transcribe for you into that language. So we're trying to break down some barriers there. I'm going to leave it as this, and I'm going to jump back in, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave a private comment for Dwight. Before the next class, please could you make sure that you listen to all the feedback that I've left? Thank you. Okay, so I could post it back, but what I'm going to do, just to make sure that the transcription is as I would like, is I'm going to tap on this purple pencil. I then get my voice note display here, and I'm going to highlight that so I get my full transcription. And you can see that this time it's actually come out absolutely flawlessly, which is great. I could post it back, but that was quite a generic comment, and I'd like to save time. So it's the sort of comment that I might want to use in a different student's piece of work or a different assignment or even a different class. So I can save it to something called my Mote book. And the way I do that is I tap here where it says Save As, and I can put down here. So this is what I'm going to save it as. Go to save, and I'll get a little notification to say this has been saved to my Mote book. So when I want to retrieve that from my Mote book, I just type that particular name in. This posts back to the student, and I know that they have now got this same clickable card. And if they want to expand the transcription, they can tap on that arrow there. I'm going to jump onto my next student now, Michael Scott, and you'll see that I've already left Michael some feedback. So I've reviewed his work. And I'd like to give him the same comment that I just left to his peer, Dwight. To access my Mote book, I'm going to long hold on the Mote icon. And in a couple of seconds, I then get my Mote book come up here. All it leaves me to do is to find the particular comment that I'm interested in. In this case, it's EdTech Spot. And you'll see that I get a nice preview when I hover my mouse over this particular name. Tapping on it, it's now ready to go. But Michael prefers for the transcription of his notes to be in another language, and he is a French speaker. So I'm going to click on Translate, and I'm going to translate that English transcription into French. Again, trying to make it more accessible for my students. I can save that, and when I post it back into my comment section for Michael, you will see that he has my audio file that he can play back and listen to. But he also has the French transcription below. Okay, so that was looking at Mote, creating a voice note and looking at transcription and a bit of translation. I'm now going to jump into another piece of work and show you another use case for Mote. And in this case, I'm going to share something that's really exciting, particularly if you're a STEM teacher, and that's something called STEM mode. Now, the way that STEM mode works is it listens to what we are saying, and it will pick out any mathematical equations or formulae, and it will do something really clever that I'll demonstrate for you just now. So I'm going to open up a comment in this Google Doc the way that I would normally. I'm also going to start the Mote the way that I would normally, just tapping on the icon. But you will see that when I look at the transcription that something really cool has happened. You've made a really good start to this piece of work. Please could you go back and take another look at 8x squared minus 7 equals 13. I'm going to tap on edit again, and I then get my transcription coming up here. In just a second, you're going to get this full transcription coming up, and you'll see that I get a clickable equation that I can edit here. So I can go down there and I can change this to 0. You will have noticed my deliberate mistake. I can then save that, exit, and when I post that back to a student, they're not only going to get my voice note, they're not only going to get a transcription, but this time it's going to have a nice, easy to understand equation there for them. How cool is that? I'm now going to jump on to Mote for Slides. As I mentioned to Jonathan, this was one of the features that we introduced as a response to educator demand. And that's really important to say that we're only a small team at Mote, so we can't come up with all the ideas ourselves. And what we're trying to do is to respond to where we find that there is the greatest educator need. So if you have any ideas of how Mote can provide different features, please just drop us an email, reach out to us on social media, and we'll do our best to respond and accommodate all of those great ideas that you guys have. When I'm in Google Slides, I have this button appear. So I tap there, and now I can move this around. And it's important to know that this feature came because a teacher spotted, actually, when I've got this window right in the middle of my slide, I can't see it all. So I'm going to move it over here, and now I can see the picture that I'm interested in. So here we go. Hi, everyone. Before the next class, what I would love you to do is to look at this picture and let me know if you think it was taken before or after March of 2020. Okay, it's going to think for a bit. And I can now insert it. Now, for anyone that tried to insert audio into a slide deck before Mote for Slides, you remember it was quite the process. You had to record it somewhere, download it, upload it to Drive, and then find it. Now, what Mote does is auto magically, and yes, that is a word, it will take that audio file and it's going to put that into my Google Drive and do all the hard work for me. And you'll notice that that has now gone onto my slide deck. I can resize it, I can move it, I can do things like change the transparency, and I can even change the picture if I want to through replace an image. And that's really important if you have any key icons that you use, for example, throughout your school. And what's also really neat to notice about Mote for Slides is that anyone accessing this slide deck, whether they have the extension or not, can get this same full interactivity. So we're finding that in elementary schools, for example, teachers are using this for things like read-along activities or to introduce the day to their students, particularly where they're working in a situation of remote learning. But lots of different, lots of great use cases there. I'm now going to jump on to another way that you can use Mote, and this is a article. So this is an article, and you'll notice that this is BBC Sport. This is not part of Google Workspace. And this was, again, driven out of educator demand, where they wanted to be able to record voice notes outside of Google. So Mote created something called Motepad. Motepad appears up here in the top right-hand corner. All I need to do to start recording a voice note is to open up the extension, and then I can just go ahead and start talking. Hi, everyone. Please have a read through this article, and can you send me a quick note to let me know if you agree with the journalist? Thank you. That Mote is automatically going to be copied to my clipboard, and I can put that link wherever I want. In this case, it's going to go back into Google Classroom as a comment, and it will give me the transcription as well for my students to look at. And what's really nice is they can see what I'm expecting as a class. I haven't got to send this particular instruction to individual students. This is going to everyone. One other use case for this is that we're seeing that teachers are using it for whole class feedback. So they've gone through the first 3 or 4 pieces of student work, recognize there's something that they need to clarify, and rather than writing out messages to all the students, they'll just drop a nice personal voice note back for their class. Okay, next thing that I'm going to do is just to show you one final feature, and that's the activity dashboard. So the activity dashboard just shows me all of my notes, shows me where they were taken, and I can even see if they've been unnoticed or they still remain, whether they've been noticed or listened to, or if they still remain unnoticed. But what's really cool is that you can click on individual students. Let's say that I've got a meeting coming up with Dwight soon. I can then jump in, have a good conversation with him, and we can identify maybe the reason that his, maybe his work has dropped off a little bit in the last couple of weeks might be because he hasn't listened to all of my wonderful voice notes with rich feedback. And finally, just as a teaser, I will show you Mote for Gmail. So Mote for Gmail is still in its very early days, but really exciting. And this is how it works. So this is it, Mote for Gmail. Put the Mote icon down here. This is a Mote, and I can put a voice note directly into an email message. Unbelievable, isn't it? That will then go in, and I then get this lovely clickable card with a nice little that I can drag here through a nice scrubber. I can adjust the audio, lots of exciting things. And when I send it to someone with the extension, they too get this same interactive voice note experience. And that was all that I wanted to share. So if anyone hasn't used Mote before, you can go ahead and jump onto justmote.me. You can download it. And you will all get a referral code. And with that referral code, you can give it to anyone else, and they will get their first 2 months of the unlimited version free, and you will get a bonus month for every person that uses your referral code. There we go. While I wait for Jonathan to come back, I will just say that just to really reiterate the value of educator feedback. So if you connect with us on any of our social channels, we are very active on Twitter, Instagram, and we've got a Mote teachers group over on Facebook. We'd encourage you to join. We also have a YouTube channel with lots of 60-second videos called Mote Minutes, where we take users through from start to finish in terms of using the different features of Mote. Okay. This is the point I can throw in a couple of jokes if you would like. Does anyone know why the gym closed down? The gym closed down because it wasn't working out. I've got plenty more of those. I'm a father of two young children. Why did the bee have? Why do bees have sticky hair? Because they use honeycombs. Okay. So what I could do, if you want, like while we're waiting for Jonathan to come back, I think he's experienced a couple of technical difficulties. If you want to jump back and you can share my screen again, and I can go through some of the really nice features of the activity dashboard. I wouldn't mind doing that. Okay, so here's the activity dashboard, and I'll just go through. I wasn't sure of where we were time-wise, so I'll just take you through a little bit slower here. So we have different settings. I'm just going to turn off the filter for Dwight. Just going to take you through. So this is a record of all the voice notes that I've created. Important to say at this particular point that we haven't actually deleted anyone's voice notes, okay? And there isn't going to be a situation in which you are looking for feedback that you've left and that suddenly disappears. So please don't worry about that. You are totally safe with your voice notes being saved. If we do make a change to that, then we'll obviously let all of our valued educators know. But over here, just a few things. So with each voice note, you can download as an MP3. You can change its visibility. This is much like on YouTube. So with unlisted, that basically means anyone with the link can hear it, but no one will be able to find it. Hidden means it's private. And then if I chose delete, then I can delete that particular voice note. I did mention this quickly, but you have up here on the top right-hand corner a little pun on the word mote. So you have moticed or unmoticed. Those voice notes that have been listened to would be categorized as moticed, and those that have not would be unmoticed. Jumping over here to the left, this is where you get the real power. If it has been listened to, you'll get like a little headphone icon. And if it's just been seen but not been listened to, then you'll get a little tick just to indicate that someone has visited that page. But for me as a teacher, one of the most valuable things is that I can see where it was left. In this case, it was my design class. I've got the assignment, and then I also have the student. And with each of those, I can then click appropriately, or I can click accordingly. Myself, I find if I have something coming up with a student, if I've got a meeting, then it's really nice to be able to drill into that particular detail and feedback from individual students. I did mention that if your students do not have Mote installed, that they can access the voice note, but it just means that they won't be able to listen to it from within the context of for example, Google Slide or Google Doc or wherever it was left. But they do get a really nice landing page. And it's exactly the same experience if you're trying to click or trying to listen to a Mote on a mobile device or an iPad or something like that. You would go to what's called the landing page. So in this landing page, you have this set up here. It will say to the student that this will be the name of your teacher. And then I also have the possibility of playing back voice note, the voice note here with a transcription over there to the right. Okay, I'm just going to jump in and see if there's any questions. So got a question. Can I speak to Mote being used with students who find the virtual classroom difficult to manage? And then potentially students that might learn differently. So if I address that first question, so students who might find the virtual classroom difficult, one of the best bits of feedback, and as a teacher myself, one of the bits of feedback that I love the most is when we hear from teachers that from using their voice is that their students are able to access and engage with their learning in a way that they weren't previously. And that's for a whole number of reasons. I think that also jumps into looking at question 2 as well there, is that for anyone as we all know, there are lots of different reasons why students might learn differently. And I think that one of the most important things for us to do as teachers and educators is to find ways in which we can best support all of those needs. Now, for some students, a voice might not be like the thing that they're looking for, but the combination of time that's being saved for teacher, the personal touch, and when you hear the intonation of your teacher voice, and you really get to understand a little bit more what they're saying, we all find that's bringing extreme value to students, particularly those that might struggle with a written comment. And we all know, that as you get older, that lots of teachers like to write lots and lots for their students to unpick. Okay. Let me just see. Have we got any other questions coming through? Unfortunately, I haven't got too many other jokes, guys. There we go. Jonathan's back.
Yes, I am back. So if you have any questions, feel free to get those fingers ready and ask away. I'm sure Mr. John, you'll be happy to hear about those questions. Now, John, I'm very curious, and as an educator as well, I'm always looking for innovative ways to use tools that can really change the way I do things traditionally. So coming from Mote, having interacted with educators all around the world, what are some of the other creative ways that educators are using Mote to make a difference within the classroom? So give us that insight, because sometimes exposure can lead to a greater idea.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So one of the best things, and one of the best things that I'm finding through largely managing Mote's social accounts. So I do all of them apart from Instagram. We have someone who's wonderful taking care of that. So I, for example, have been seeing lots of great examples of the fantastically creative work that teachers are doing in their classroom. For example, today I spotted that someone was using it as like a virtual help desk for their students. So they were using Google Slides, and their students were then responding, or they were putting they were using Mote for slides, and they were then, rather than just having a written comment, they were sending one to their teacher or to the librarian, actually, in this case, and they were sending it back. Another great use of Mote for slides that we've seen is there was an educator from America called Wendy Prey, who I definitely recommend following. She shares some wonderful, wonderfully rich resources. She shared a newsletter, a school newsletter, and to make it more accessible and to be able to reach all of those members of the community who might not, love it when there's lots of text, she basically made her Google slide deck into a portrait mode, so it had a newsletter feel. And then she was creating audio to basically to accompany all of the articles that were part of that school newsletter, which was great. We've seen in terms of Mote for feedback, one of the great things with that is that teachers are hearing from their students, getting feedback that when they are receiving voice notes, that it adds value for them, like they are feeling like that their teachers are going the extra mile. And it's helping to build relationships, particularly in this time of remote learning or hybrid learning or whatever, depending on where you are in the world, that we've seen that it really helps. But actually, one of the most consistent pieces of praise and thanks that we are getting from the teacher community is just from the perspective of teacher well-being, which is such a hugely important issue. But the amount of time that is being saved, and we're getting from our feedback between 50 to 70% of time is being saved that you would normally spend marking because you're typing it up. And, we want to give as thorough and as rich feedback as we possibly can to help our students learn and grow. And when we can do that and change it for our voice and save time, it's a win for everyone, Jonathan.
Yeah, and I agree, and I can speak about this from my experience as well. Having to interact with young kindergartners in primary school, like the Mote tool was very, very useful in bringing personality into my message, so that the message was clearer, and I was able to save time and convey the exact tone and I wanted to convey the message at. But I really enjoyed this presentation. I'm not sure if we have any other questions. I'm seeing Miss Westhead asking how long Mote has been around. Maybe you can give us that quick.
Yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, so it was we have the two founders, Alex and Will. They actually met on another couple of audio ventures, and they knew that there was a gap in terms of how audio and voice notes might be able to help people. And they created Mote, and it was coincidentally it was launched in March of 2020. Little did they know that March of 2020 was a month in which the world was going to be changing. So it was it was a coincidental launch. There was no sort of like, let's make it because of the pandemic. It was months. Well, it was more than months in the making, and it just so happened that March was a month that it was launched on the Chrome Web Store.
Great, and it's just a baby. I thought Mote was around for years.
Oh yeah, very much so. But I will say that we actually last week we reached a milestone of having 1 million active installs of Mote globally. So that's pretty impressive within a year.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah. Another good point was raised about the time limit of Mote. I'm seeing it here. And what is the time limit? And is there any features surrounding that time limit?
Yeah. So in the basic version, so in the free version, you get unlimited voice notes up to 30 seconds. And then in the next two tiers, they both give you 90 seconds. The reason we haven't gone over 90 seconds is we're not only interested in the feedback from teachers, but we're also interested in the feedback from students. And the feedback from students has been that anything more than 90 seconds does become rather hard to maintain full focus. So it's a 30-second for the free version, and then up to 90 on the two next tiers, which is Essentials and Unlimited.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad you've been here to basically break down what is the Mote tool. I know the market in the Caribbean would be receptive to this type of tool because it's somewhat of an unknown need. It may, you don't know you need it until you discover it and you realize how much you need it. and then
Do you know what
can't go without
I was saying that to someone the other day. I was saying that exact same thing. You know, there's that there's a famous Henry Ford quote, which I don't think was a Henry Ford quote, but he said, if I'd have asked them what they wanted, they'd have said faster horses. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that and I think that sometimes that when we think as teachers, you know, what do we want, or you ask teachers, then they'll think, you know, I want to do something faster, or I want to do something in a more efficient manner, but they might not have the time to step back and think, maybe that would be solved if I were able to use my voice. So hopefully someone like Mote can come in, and we are delighted to be, as I say, Jonathan, working with teachers all over the world, and also working with students all over the world, trying to make sure that we are making learning better for everyone.
Yes, and I agree. And like what you said before, you guys are, you hit it right on the money. You see the value that is that can be had within the learning environment, and you'll be after it. I see you as one of the lead users out there who are solving problems for educators, and that is great. Thumbs up to Mote. Thumbs up to you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you once again. No problem. Thank you once again for coming. I hope that all of our viewers would really jump on the Mote train, and that they will also to feel free to get those certifications that Mote also offers. It's a great learning experience. It's a great learning program. Feel free to join those learning programs, become Mote certified. I'm quite sure you will enjoy it. And tag us. Let us know how was the experience. Tag John Neale. Let us know, and we'll be happy to respond to you. So thank you once again, Mr. John Neale, and
thank you for having me.
To probably talking again in the future. All right.
I hope so. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we're going to take a quick break here and return with the Google certified educator, Miss Sara West, who's going to talk to us about PearDeck and Google Slides, and using this tool to create an interactive presentation within the classroom. So let's take a break and return with Miss Sara West. Hi, welcome back to the EdTech Spot. We are here with a mother, a teacher, a Google certified trainer, a former journalist, a librarian at the Whitney Institute Middle School in Bahamas, Miss Sara Westhead.
Sorry, I have to correct you. I am not in the Bahamas. I am in Bermuda.
Bermuda, yes. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that, Sara. But yes, you are in the lovely island of Bermuda.
It's great to be back with you guys again today.
Yeah, we're always happy to have you here, and you do bring value to our viewers, and we really appreciate that. And we love the work that you're doing in Bermuda with the educators and students. You're really leading the charge there, being one of the first to become a Google certified trainer. And I'm right behind you. I'm not there yet, but I'm close up. I am close up there with you. So how are things since the last time we spoke, Sara?
Things are busy. Things are always busy for me. But I love taking the time out to help teachers learn how to enhance their classroom, and just create find new ways to create engagement with their students.
Yes, and this is what this presentation is all about: finding that creative, innovative, interactive way to get our students responding more. And we know all of our teachers, every teacher in the world would love that. That is a dream come true. So I'm not going to suck up any more of your time. I'm going to let you just get right to it and start exploring the tool with our viewers, walking them through tools like Google Slide and PearDeck and the ways we can actually implement it within the classroom. So the floor is yours, Sara.
Thank you so much. I am beginning to share my slides, so hopefully that'll be popping up in a moment. I will tell you all that Google Slides has got to be one of my all-time favorite Google programs. There's so many ways that you can use Google Slides, that whether it's creating digital interactive notebooks, but today I'm specifically going to be looking at using Google Slides and PearDeck. So PearDeck is an application that you can add on in your Google Slides and create interactive notebooks. Interactive presentations. One of the things that I love about it is that there are always those students who just don't want to talk in class. They're either too shy, or they may have a learning challenge that makes them want to not participate in the classroom. They're afraid they're going to make a mistake. There's so many different reasons. And so with using PearDeck and Google Slides, I am giving them a voice in my classroom. Now, this can be used whether you are working face-to-face with your students, or if you are working remotely, if you are synchronous or asynchronous with your students in remote learning. There are so many different options. And you're going to see that I am sharing my entire Google Slide presentation for you today so that you can see where things are. All right, so we are looking at enhancing and teaching with Google Slides and PearDeck. Now, I am not going to go into too many details in regard to where things are, how to create all these little things. Most people are used to creating regular presentations. So you can see, basically, you can create new slides. You can change your backgrounds by going to the background. Hopefully, you'll see that I've used the little highlight tool so that blue box is appearing where the background is, so I can change the background on my slides, making them personal. I love using my Bitmoji. So if you see way up top here in my toolbar for Google Chrome, I have the Bitmoji app added into Google Chrome so that I can add a personalized touch. We add and format our text. But there's lots of other different kinds of things besides text and background. Of course, we can add our images. There are two ways to add images in Google Slides. You can use the toolbar and see there's a box with what looks like a mountainscape on it. Clicking on that will allow you to insert images, whether uploading from your computer, searching the web. This is super, super handy, saves time. You can literally click that and you can search for whatever item you want. I love pulling up my koalas as an homage to my mom, who is in Australia. So you can literally just search right there, right in the browser, without having to flip back and forth between windows. I can include GIFs in my presentations if I want to as well. The best way to do that is if you go to a GIF website like Giphy, for example, you copy the URL for the image and you enter it, you add your image by URL, and you just literally paste that URL there and it will pop up in your slide. You can add video. Going to under insert, we can go to video. If you are not familiar, you can literally search YouTube right here and look for stuff. So if I want something Star Wars, Harry Potter, whatever it is I'm looking for, I can search for the video, or I can simply just paste the share link from the YouTube video. If it's somewhere outside of YouTube, I can add it there. If it's in my Google Drive, I can add it there as well. And of course, there's shapes, lines, and tables, which are all really, really important, excellent tools that you can use. But let's get started on looking at PearDeck. Now, you must be using Chrome. I do need to make sure that I say that you must be using Chrome. It is a Google Slides Chrome add-on. You can probably use it in other browsers, but it's not going to work nearly as well. There is some great integration going on with that. That said, there is a PearDeck program that you can download and install for use in PowerPoint as well. There are free and paid options, and there's a ton of benefits. But let's get going and starting to look at PearDeck. So I have it pre-installed in my, I'm just making my screen a little bit bigger now because this, it's going to pop up on the side. You can see I have it already built into my Google Slides. If you do not have it, simply open your Google Slides, go to add-ons, and then go to get add-ons, and you can search for PearDeck right then and there. Or you can go to their website and at peardeck.com and access it from there. So I have it, like I said, I already have it installed. I'm just going to click on it, and you're going to see a toolbar pop open on the side of the screen. And I now have access to the complete template library. The template library is awesome for teachers who have never done it before. You simply click on it, and you can search for templates for individual slides for use at the beginning of a lesson, during a lesson, at the end of a lesson, the kinds of thinking that you want. If you want critical thinking, social emotional learning, example questions, depending on the subject or the age group that you are working on with, and it makes it super, super easy. So you just click on the one that you want, and you will see examples pop up right there. All you have to do is simply click on the one you want, and it will add it to your Google slide presentation. All right, it takes a second. All right, come on. Oh, there we go. Gotta love delays in live presentations. Okay, so there we go. I have the slide presentation. Oh, it's added it twice. And the students then have access to it. So here we have a couple of other examples. We have a stress check, which is awesome for social emotional learning, especially when you're doing remote teaching. And if you go on to, we'll be sharing a link in a little bit. So to show you what it looks like for a student, but the student will see a big purple bar appear in the middle of the screen, and they can slide it up and down and tell you exactly where it was located. Here's another example. We have locations, we have a map, and of course you can change these as you want. This is set up exactly like it is in the sample slide, but you can change those. If you wanted them to say, okay, where is, I don't know, where's the Bering Strait? Where is, you know, whatever the places that you're looking for, you can add those in yourself and change it. A couple of other examples. So math, you can have a question and you can change this. You could adjust it. You can add your own photos as you see fit. And there's even ones for the littlest ones that we have. And what is really, really cool about these is, especially if your students are using a touchpad in some way, shape, or form. So it's a screen where they can actually touch on the screen, or if they're using an iPad, they can actually draw directly on the screen. It makes it so, so easy. All righty then. So once you get used to using the slides, you can, if you've been using the template library, you can add stuff and information as you want. You may want to start saying, you know what, I'm creating my own slides. So there are ways that you can do it. You're going to see in this section right here underneath the template library, it says ask students a question. And you can, using this tool, you can add any kind of question or interactive slide that you want. You can create a slide that's where the students have to type an answer, multiple choice, where they have to type in a number. If you want students to, especially in asynchronous learning, and you want them to check out a website outside of the slide, then you can do that as well by using the website tool. You can create ones where the student has to draw on the page or write on the page or create your own draggable slide. As I mentioned before, there is a free version of of PearDeck. There is a paid version. With the paid version, when you have the full version of it, you can also add audio to your slides. And I'm going to show you in a moment how you would start your lesson. But I do want to show you an example of creating your own question. So here I have a slide. Now, I may not want all this extra pictures here. I put it up so that you see the answer. But yes, tomorrow, Monday, March 8th, is International Women's Day. So if I wanted to create a PearDeck slide. I've created my slide just like I would normally do. I'm simply going to click on the choice button. Okay, I click on that, and you're going to see this little screen pops up. Takes a moment, and then I can type in my answers. And so we have International Harry Potter Day, we have Mardi Gras, we have International Women's Day, and I can update the slide. It's adding interactive question. And I know I've got a D there. I've got World Book Day. If I need to adjust that, I just simply click on the choice button again so I can go in. It'll pop it back open. I can add another. Can't tape today. So I can keep adding as many as you see fit. Of course, we all know as educators, you don't want too many choices in a multiple choice question. Simply click on Update Slide, and that it will update it for you. You're going to see, though, that now that I've created this personalized slide, this little PearDeck icon has appeared on the bottom. If I were to click on that and delete it, then that interactive slide will disappear. This information will stay in the bottom, but it will no longer be an interactive slide for my students. So let's get a look and see what it looks like when I start a lesson. I'm going to click on Start a Lesson. And I can make it as a student-paced activity or an instructor-paced activity. Most of the time, I start off with instructor-paced activity because I am teaching face-to-face. And this is what will pop up. The students will see the presentation, and you will invite your students to go to the website joinpd.com. And there should be a screen. This is sometimes, because I've got so many things going on, this may not be cooperating today. Here we go. It's taking its own sweet time. All right, so it is now generating a join code. So you would share this join code up on the screen. The students would go to joinpd.com and type in the unique code that was created specifically for that presentation. And rather than just making it a random list of letters, they have some specific words that create these very funny phrases for your students. So you can remind them, okay, our code today is EAWYCM, exothermic avocados warmly yield confused muffins. So as students log in, if they've gone to joinpd.com, they entered the code. You can also copy, by clicking on the Give Students a Link, it will copy it, and then you can force send it to everybody, and students will be ready. Once students are connected, and you start seeing, right now it says no students are connected because we don't have any students participating. And but once you see that your students are logged in, you can hit continue and you go on with your slide. Now, of course, we jumped into the middle to it right from the middle. And so what the students will see on the screen, oh, this is going way too fast. I clicked way too fast. This is my fault, guys. It's gone crazy. It has gone crazy. I'm going to stop this right now because it has gone crazy. That is entirely my fault. In fact, I'm going to stop the screen, stop sharing altogether. And I don't know what happened. I guess that's the joys of technology. I apologize as I'm trying to get it to stop. And I'm going to reshare my screen if it'll let me. For some reason, it's not letting me reshare my screen. I don't know what happened there. But what is very interesting about PearDeck is that if you start the presentation as a teacher-led presentation, you can then switch it in the middle, which is really, really cool in that say you're getting through students through the beginning stuff of it, and then you want them to say, okay, you're going to choose, I want you to choose 3 out of the 6 slides that I presented. So you're giving your students a bit of a student choice board. You can use it that way. Now, I did get a question pop up about technical challenges which can often occur and frustrate educators. One of the things that technology is not perfect. It was created by, we are imperfect beings, and it was created by imperfect beings. And so problems can arise. They can arise because of, your internet is acting up, your Wi-Fi goes down in the school. There's so many reasons that could be working. I don't know about you, in the islands, just a little bit of wind sometimes can knock stuff out of loop, and things just don't work. So what do you do as a teacher? You know what? You're going to get a little bit frustrated sometimes, but you're just going to roll with the punches. Don't panic. The kids are not expecting a Beyonce presentation from you. They are there to learn. They want to see you and learn from you. And when things go wrong, they're actually you are modeling how to handle frustrating situations. So they can say, oh, wow, well, things went really bad in class today. The technology didn't work. The power went out. The internet went out, whatever happened. And, they're saying, well, Mrs. Westhead can handle that. If things go wrong for me, I can fix that as well. We are not having to worry about being perfect. So just roll with the punches. Most of us remember once upon a time that we didn't have technology. We did pencil and paper. And guess what? Kids still learn that way. And unfortunately, it's not letting me reshare my screen again. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. I am going to send in the back chat. So hopefully Jonathan in the background can share. There is a video that I've posted so that you can see what it looks like on the student view in regards to PearDeck, so that you can see what it looks like on the student screen. And hopefully you enjoy. But I apologize. We have technical issues all the time. But Jonathan, if you want to come in, if you got any other questions that are popping through, I'd be glad to answer them.
Hey, Sarah. Yeah, so sometimes it's a good thing that these things happen, because a lot of teachers think that tech-savvy people don't encounter issues with technology as well. But it really could happen to anyone at all. And that is why I always tell my teachers and I always tell my students, it's important that you develop that type of resilience so that these types of circumstances won't become a roadblock to you moving forward. You must be able to recover it gracefully and move on. And failures are sometimes inevitable, and technology is not off the list where that is concerned. But if you want to try again, we can fail forward to today. If you want to go out and try again, we can do that, and I'll wait on you.
It's being intermittent. The share button on StreamYard is being intermittent, and I think that might be what the problem is. As far as I know, I as you mentioned earlier, I'm a mom. I have 2 teenage sons. So only the Lord knows, because I can't see them in other rooms. What internet usage in my house looks like today. So here we go. I'm not sure again, but just so that they can see again so you can create your own slide, your own background, and just using these the text, the choice button, so you can create your own device, your own questions, own interactive questions. Again, I did create a very short video. It's about 4 minutes long, which is why I didn't want to show it in the show today, because I didn't want to take too much time, but you can go in and see what it looks like for a student answering the questions. And then, of course, again, I have done this on a few occasions, mixing the teacher-led and student-paced. So you can go in, you can start it off as a teacher-led presentation. So you do the introductory bits with your students, and then in the middle of the presentation, switch it to student paced, and then you can let them go and play with all the different slides and choose which activities they're going to engage with. And I will tell you, my students, I'm like, I did this a few weeks ago, and my students, I'm like, you do know you're doing reading comprehension. Every single one of these activities is a reading comprehension activity. And they're like, yeah, we know, Mrs. Westhead, but at least it's fun. So they were enjoying it. The other thing is that, as I said before, is, I have students who don't necessarily will never raise their hand. They'll never answer a question in class. But because I'm doing interactive slides, then they can share their response. I can click on the show responses on the screen, and the students, they're anonymous. So unless they say, that's mine, which some of them do, but they'll answer the question, and they can participate and answer the questions and go from there and participate without worrying that they're making a mistake, that they're giving the wrong answer and stuff like that. So I am now open for questions if anybody has any queries or concerns. And you said resilience. Our three pillars at our school are respect, responsibility, and resilience. So technology has definitely been a way to teach our students resilience this year. So any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer the questions as best as I can.
So I'm seeing a question here of the EdTech Spot poll. It says, Sarah, how do you find Google Slides and PearDeck help students who find school particularly difficult in general?
I have to say, all of my students enjoy playing with PearDeck, but my weakest group, so those are students who are on or below grade level when it comes to their reading skills. Some of them have given up on education. I teach what would be the equivalent of year 9 in the Cambridge program. So we call that M3. In the States, that would be 8th grade. It's the last year of middle school. They're 13, 14 years of age. And so some of them have kind of just given up. And so it creates they're learning while they're having fun. And so that is a big piece where you're creating engagement with your students. But at the same time, it takes the stress off of thinking about, okay, I have to write a big, long essay. Or it's showing that you understand the content in other ways rather than doing it in the traditional ways that may be hard because the handwriting's not good or the spelling's not good. So it's just the fact that it's anonymous on the screen. They're sharing their thoughts, they're thinking, and not having to worry about, oh, my name is attached to that, and so I'm going to be embarrassed by making a mistake.
Yeah, and I find these type of tools and presentations really appeal to the different types of learners, as the question alluded to there as well. Those who are audio learners or visual learners, and it is great. It's bringing that inclusivity or accessibility to all of the students and not leaving anyone behind. And that is why these type of tools are really taking off. Because teachers really do see the value in them in learning. And it makes learning more fun and, yes, interactive, but less burdensome, even for the students as well. Because you don't want to make learning hard or difficult. Learning should be something that you want to aspire to do, not necessarily that is a chore or something difficult. So that is why these tools are so great.
What is also great is I showed you this. I showed the one slide that has where it's for the really little ones. So there are slides where you can draw instead of typing. And so that is another way that students can demonstrate their knowledge and their understanding. And so it works for kids of any age, from the really little ones who haven't even, are still learning how to write their letters, to on up. And the teenagers love it. They love the fact that they now have an opportunity and the reason to pull out their phones in class without getting in trouble. So, you know, that's definitely a benefit. Can PearDeck, I see the question coming up, can PearDeck be used on iPads? Now, I personally haven't tried creating my PearDecks on my iPad. I like to sit at my desktop and create stuff because I'm comfortable. I'm in my chair. I've got my big old giant screen. I can have lots of stuff open going on at the same time. That's just a me thing. But can your students access it? Definitely. They go to their browser, go to the browser and type in joinpd.com. From what I understand, it shouldn't matter which browser you are logging in from. It's a matter of which you're presenting from can be a challenge. So that's why I always recommend that you use it when you're creating it in Google Slides, to use the Chrome browser, because you're going to have less problems with interactivity between the programs. They were built to work together. And so when you're using them together, you're going to have less issues. Does that mean you can't create when you're using Safari or Firefox or another browser? Doesn't mean that. It's just you may have occasionally tweaks, bits not working quite right when you're doing that. Students, on the other hand, can access it from any browser.
Great. And I find these tools, I just alluded to before, they're fairly easy to use. And if you are having difficulty using any of these tools, have no fear. There are various support groups that you can join. You can reach out. You can always reach out to Sara Westhead. She is a Google certified trainer, and she'll be happy to assist you wherever she can. You can reach out to the EdTech Spot as well, and any of the capable staff will be happy to assist. But there's always the Google Educator Group, which Sara and I are also a member of, the GEG Bermuda and GEG Barbados, and then there's the GEG Caribbean. We're all trying to integrate here. Feel free to join any of these professional learning networks, and you can even start your own within your own country if you if none is available in your country at present. And we'll be happy to link up with you and to form that network so we can have that wider support and get through these difficult times together. So have no fear. We are here and we're willing to assist. I want to thank Sara for being here today. I really enjoy speaking and learning from you, and I'm quite sure our viewers do. And I also want to thank John for being here today as well. So thank you once again. And I'm really looking forward to a next session where we can have a more in-depth discussion or review of other tools, because there are tons of tools that we can bring to that can assist the teachers in this learning environment. So thank you again, Sara, for being here once again.
You're welcome. It was great to be here again today.
Great. Great. Well, if you want to join this experience, you can just follow the link in the description below, leave some feedback for us, and let us know what your interests. We'll be happy to have you a part of our journey. Now, this is where the show ends, but you don't have to be left behind. You can subscribe. Yes, subscribe to stay up to date with all the happenings on the EdTech Spot. Now, our next episode is with Mr. Carlton Cummins, who is the CTO and the co-founder of Acceleron Limited. And we're going to be talking about energy renewable techniques, what he calls the circular economy, and how do we get there. So join us next episode with Mr. Carlton Cummins as we explore all of these topics as it relates to STEM. So until next time, be safe and stay STEMmy.